Peace, love, and light. Welcome to Beach Church, episode 1. The topic today is death and rebirth. This shoreline is so crazy, y'all. I can see the aura in the sand as the water separates and the waves comes in from the tides. It's so relaxing. Okay, let's get into it. I want to start off by discussing let's get into it. I want to start by saying all the information that I have in these different episodes are things I've studied, things I've channeled, things I've dreamed about, different ways messages have hit me, and also life experience. Let's first talk about mourning our loved ones. The first time I went through a big, what I felt was loss, was when my mom passed. And as a kid, I used to always think there was no world that I wanted to live in where my mother wasn't a part of my everyday, a part of my story as it continued. In my 28th year, my mom transitioned. And all I heard was everyone hitting me and saying, sorry for your loss, sorry for your loss. On top of me feeling empty already. To me, that just made it even more harder because it kept reminding me that she wasn't there, and they kept saying she was lost. And I was feeding into that idea of her being lost. And it took about a year for me to get from under that hurt and that emptiness, where I just didn't think that I would be able to move on with my life without her. One thing I've learned from my studies and from life experience, when our loved ones pass away, you're not lost. You're just moving on to a different plane of existence. But they're still very much so a part of us. And mourning them does them an injustice. Because if you are really close to someone and they transition and they pass away, and all you can do is think about how empty you are and how hurt you are, that tethers their energy and their spirit to this plane, and they won't be able to separate and ascend and move on to their next version of life if they're connected to your pain and your suffering, because they love you and they don't want to see you hurt. So they attach themselves, their spirit attaches themselves to your mourning. And everything is perception. So if you're constantly in a mindset that your loved one is lost and you're no longer able to contact them, that just makes it harder on both parties, yourself and your loved one that's passed on. Instead of mourning and feeling like they're not a part of us anymore, a better solution would be to honor their name and honor their spirit. Focus on the happiness and the good moments that you had together in this plane. Talk to them because they can still hear you. You're still very much so conscious of the connection. Even though you're no longer in the physical shell, their spirit continues to live. The connection between you and that loved one still exists in both realities, in my opinion, and from my research and my workings with my ancestors. Just taking a moment to enjoy this beautiful day. And these waves and the sun. I want to talk a bit about what I think happens when our loved ones transition. Another thing I want to address is everything that we do and say has power, and our perception of things adds on or lessens the suffering for us. So, from your belief system, what happens when your loved one passes away? For me, when our loved ones pass on, whatever they believed in this incarnation is still part of their story when they pass on. I also believe many people don't even know that they may have transitioned if they were so into the routine of what they were doing in the living. Also, depending on the way they passed away, may play a part in it as well. To give you an example, like if your loved one, for instance, was Christian, they believed that they were gonna die and be reunited with Christ or whoever their Messiah might be. When they pass on, they still may be involved in looking for that connection. That's something I truly believe, because when my mom transitioned, it took a while, but after I got through all of the hurt and I started to really try to connect with her, I would see her in dreams. And in the dream, she was either one of two places. She was either sitting in a church, like building, waiting for the service to start, or she was in the park feeding the birds, and my mom loved birds. So I believe those things still rang true for her when she passed on. So she still was pursuing that want that she had created in her human experience of connecting with her Messiah and her spirit through animals, which are birds. So I believe wherever your loved ones were in their mental and passing, it may be a way for you to channel or look into how you should pursue or honor them. For me, my mom, like, I set up an ancestor altar, which we can totally discuss if you're interested in. And I basically had like something representing the 4 elements. So I had a plant, I had a bowl where I poured water into, and said libations, which is basically honoring and inviting her energy to be around me. I had an incense to represent air, and I had candles lit to represent fire, and a photo or something of your loved one, which for me, my mom, was a photo of her, and I kept on the altar, and I tried to support her libations and stay connected and just honor her and focus on all good memories that we had together and how grateful I was to be of her seed and of her lineage. And those were a few things that started to help me get through and away from the suffering and the idea of my mom being lost or hurt or suffering, because that's just not true. Huge part of this life experience that we lead and how we were raised in this, how we were taught was that our loved ones, when they pass on, and they're lost. And not saying that it's easy, not saying that when your loved one passes on, it's just something that's easy and you're just like, okay, they're not lost, they're good, they're, you know, they spirit and they flow in, and, you know, not saying that you won't feel anything, or that you won't feel lost, or that you won't feel sadness for a minute, but to continue the feeling and to dwell on the feeling of pain and sorrow does the injustice to you and the loved one. Let's talk about, for a minute, in my life, the reason I think that we were born into this reality. I believe everyone who comes here and incarnates for the very first time has a set of things that they specifically set up to learn within the human experience. And I believe through those soul contracts, those spiritual documents that we sign when incarnating, that determines the lessons that we learn. And I'm pretty sure no one is full master of the human experience through one lifetime. For me, I believe it takes at least a few lifetimes to walk through the things that you set up to learn, to fulfill your contract, to ascend back into a higher plane of existence in your next life, or away from the whole idea of this incarnation and the idea of the human mindset of what a life looks like. For me, the goal in life is to ascend, not to keep coming back and being human over and over again, but to build enough chi, enough lessons within our lifetimes to step into our higher plane of existence, away from incarnation, which is, for me, the word is ascension. Back to your full starlight, back to your full cosmic energy God state. Just taking it all in and letting spirit speak through me divinely, because I am the vessel. For me, my path is about healing and helping others heal. That is what I have come to the conclusion that my life purpose is for the rest of my life incarnation within this existence. Also, my goal from this life is to tap into enough past life memories, history, and experiences and add them all up so I can complete my soul contract and ascend back to my own version of my God, which is my highest self, or my future self, depending on how you want to look at it. So again, I want to go back into how we separate the suffering from ourselves while still being in our human vessels. Number one, know that your loved one is not lost. They are still with you, very much so. You can still contact them and talk to them whenever you want to. You can channel them whenever you want to. You can reach them by dream whenever you want to. If you have any questions on these things, feel free to hit me and we can discuss them. There's different meditations that I do when I feel like I need to connect to a loved one who's no longer on this plane. It's been 10 years since my mom passed, and I was the first person I was super close to that I had to deal with that life lesson of separation from somebody that I was so close to. And now my mindset is so much calmer and fulfilled. I don't necessarily really feel the separation from the two, from the spirit realm and the earth realm. I'm now able to contact my mom whenever I want through dream. I know how to set my intentions in my awakened life. And to take that part of my consciousness with me into the dream realm to contact her and see her and sit with her. Originally, I wasn't able to actually talk when I see her in my dreams. She, like I said, she was either in a church or in a park with birds. And I was able to sit with her, but she and I never actually spoke. There was no actual conversation. But I always felt a little more whole and of myself when I came out of those dreams. In the beginning, there was a lot of times she would show up when I was really at my lowest, or like just going through something in the human experience, or just feeling that, you know, just the departure away from her and the sorrow of it, because it was still me stepping into the consciousness of a higher plane of existence and knowing that my mom wasn't suffering and she wasn't lost, and that we were still very much so intertwined energetically. And after my mom's passing or transitioning, remember, words are very powerful, and how we learn to change our terminology and change the way that we speak of things plays into our consciousness, which plays into our subconscious, which helps us to reach a more blissful life on a daily. So we start to say that, instead of saying sorry for your loss, something like sending love, or just honoring them however we feel that we should. So if you have a loved one that you're having trouble with coming to terms with, and it's hard for you every day, and you know, on a daily basis you just, you know, feel the disconnection, and your thoughts are focused on the grief and the pain, that continues to play a part in tethering their energy to the earth realm. So instead of thinking our loved ones are lost, we should, instead of they just transitioned and became spirit. And some of our loved ones, I do feel they may have died in or passed away in a tragic manner, or was kind of like out of the blue, or even of old age, depending on the circumstances when you transition and when you pass on from the incarnation of the human experience. They may have another lifetime to have to come back and live and still fulfill some more parts of their soul contract, or them as a spirit in human incarnation. They may have a few more things they have to tie up, so they may reincarnate back to the earth plane for another life experience. So if that's the case, I still believe that the part of the memory that they share in a life experience of life they had together with you in this specific or current life experience, that part of their energy still lives on, and that part of their energy we can still connect to. And I also feel like part of it is our duty to honor that memory that we shared, and it helps both parties. Some of the cool practices that I think are cool, if you have a loved one and their birthday comes around and you may have, have a feeling like, man, I wish they were still here with me and this is messed up. Catch by these waves. What we should do is honor them. So you can make their favorite dish and sit it out on the altar that you created for them and eat with them. Make them their own plate. Don't eat their food. Pour out libations. That's basically pouring water into a bowl, a specific bowl that you set up specifically for your ancestors, and you call out their name, and then you say Ashe. Ashe is basically giving their energy or their spirit permission and drawing their energy towards you with your intentions to your space. And then you could just talk to them and, tell them you love them, and however your message comes to you that you want to put out there for them, just let it ride from your heart. I want to go more into the idea for me, what I call Ascension. Again, that's just when you have put everything together in your life experiences through your different lifetimes, gained enough chi, and was able to detach yourself from all the ideas of the human mindset. Because your highest mind is your true mind, and that's your true being, which only part of that is in your body or your vessel that walks through this life experience. So gaining enough chi and enough energy and detaching yourself from any human idea, whether it's suffering, whether it's trying to save the masses, anything that you might set yourself up to be attached and feel like you're not done, basically. That's how you reincarnate. It's when parts of you or your soul contract, and also parts of you feel like you're not done with the human experience, whether it's attachment to money, a loved one, whatever your attachment might be. The goal is to let go of anything that you're attached to in this human idea of mindset of life, so you can make it back to your highest self, your highest version of self, your God self, your star being, your future self. That's the difference between Ascension and Rebirth. Rebirth being coming back, trying again. Maybe someone passed tragically or out of the blue, or this was attached to the suffering from a lot of people who had a lot of love for them. They may reincarnate and want to, start over in that role where they feel like they left off, or they might have felt like they didn't fulfill something, or a lesson they needed to learn, a few lessons they needed to learn. They may need to come back here and meet another version of you, and you both may need to walk through the letting go of the human idea of mindset of humanity and getting back to your alien, your true original self, your highest version of self, your soul, your true soul. I'm thinking if I have anything else. I think that's everything that I wanted to discuss. So Beach Church, I won't be doing this every Sunday, but I will be doing it a few Sundays a month. And if you're ever in the San Juan area and I have it set up, you know that I want to be doing the Beach Church, you're welcome to show up and sit out with me and play singing bowls and build and just discuss how to become our best selves in this incarnation and separate ourselves from suffering and live a blissful life for the rest of our days in this existence. In the same time, or at the same time, detaching from any idea of humanity, basically. Just living a blissful life, being your best self in every day, learning as much as you can, throughout your life and healing yourself, not necessarily healing the masses or your family or your friends, but just knowing that the mission is really specifically to heal yourself, and in turn that reflection from the light that you starting to beacon out from your full healed, fully in peace self, that your reflection will in turn heal the masses and heal anybody around you, because your Merkaba shield light energy will be so huge that it just touches anyone that you cross paths with, and that will in turn, anybody that's supposed to spark their light and to help them be the best them and fulfill and complete and contact and tap into their highest aspect of self, that shall happen. But really, the biggest mission is to heal yourself, your own energy, and to live a life without suffering, because that's not why we came here. We weren't incarnated to suffer. That wasn't part of the mission or the contract. I believe for me wasn't about suffering. It was about lessons, but not about suffering. Oh, I wanted to share, so every night before I go to sleep, I set my intentions on what I want to dream and what I want to accomplish in my dream state. I believe the dream state plays or sends messages back to us in the waking life for us to tap more into who we are in spirit. And last night when I was setting my intentions and I was going to sleep, my intentions were on beach church and how to deliver this message. So in my dream last night, I came across these like women, and they were like along this like building, and they were like all laid out on these tapestries that had these different like colorful, like vivid, bright, plane going past, a vivid, bright tapestries with these different crazy deities on them. And I remember the girls told me, like the woman who was like the leader of their spiritual crew, and I spoke with her and I told her that this is true for me in awakened life. My father passed a year after my mom, and he and I weren't as close as my mom and I were, but I always had that like yearning and longing for a better relationship with my father. And since he's passed on and I came into this information of honoring our ancestors and tapping in and connecting with them, I haven't been able to contact him yet. So in a dream, she told me that she had something that she wanted to perform on me if I gave her permission, and I gave her permission. And she stuck this piece to my throat and she tapped it with something a few times, and I remember it like going into my neck and me like kind of feeling like I swallowed it, but then like I felt like I released something when I swallowed it at the same moment. And I feel like that was me opening my heart, me opening my throat chakra in both planes of existence. And I think that was my breakthrough for me to be able to call out to him now in dreams to make that connection, to heal that relationship with him. And also I believe that it in turn was for me to be able to channel and fully open up and speak my truth to the masses to help heal whoever it helps heal or touches. Yeah, so pay attention to your dreams. If you have any questions about how to remember your dreams or tap more into your dreams, or be able to have different practices to tap into through DREAMSPELL to awaken life, hit me up for questions or answers or Q&A about that as well. If you have enjoyed this talk or have any more questions or want to build more on this specific subject, feel free to hit me through the DM or through my website, www.bookdayoshee.com. Also, if you want to donate, you can hit the link in the bio and you'll see the donate button, and you can donate whenever you feel that you were led to donate. If not, thank you for tuning in. I hope this helps you. Sending love, peace, and joy and healing to everyone out there. Peace.